As 2025 is coming to a close, it's time to look back at the top 10 weather events across the state. Arkansas has just about had it all this year, ranging from tornadoes, snowstorms, extreme heat, wildfires, and even the northern lights. Let's jump right into it, starting off with number 10, the extreme midsummer heat. On July 17th through the 18th, heat index values climbed to the upper 110s, even hitting 119 in areas such as Quitman and El Paso. That kind of dangerous heat, especially with prolonged exposure, is a really good reminder of just how intense our summer heat can get here in the state. Making it to number 9 was the May 18th shelf cloud that pushed through much of the state. This one is all about the visuals. It was a textbook shelf cloud that mainly pushed through central Arkansas, and especially here in Little Rock. It's one of those moments we caught on the tower camera here in downtown as it was rolling through. Here was a time lapse that Chief Meteorologist Todd Jacobian put together on that date while we were tracking it on the air. There was a severe thunderstorm warning issued. With this, bigger story remained that shelf cloud that made a very photogenic storm as it pushed through. And of course, we had to put the northern lights on there too, which made it to spot number 8 for the top 10 weather events this year. On November the 11th, the northern lights were visible across all of Arkansas. It was a rare G-force solar storm, allowing the northern lights to be seen as far south as Louisiana and Mississippi. We received photos from nearly every single county across the state. The excitement was real that night, and it turned into one of the most memorable nights of the year. Moving on to number 7 was the March 19th wildfires. It was a classic fire weather setup. Strong winds, very dry air, and even drought conditions in part of the state sparked numerous wildfires. Here in central Arkansas, fires burned through wooded areas, including behind the Walmart on Bowman Road. You can still see those burn scars today. And of course, we can't forget the fire at the historic St. Joseph Center in North Little Rock. Dry and windy weather conditions made it difficult for crews to put the fire out. Burn bans were issued for much of the state, making it a very active and dangerous stretch of weather in mid-March. Now switching gears from fire to cold weather, the January 21st Arctic outbreak, which makes number 6 in our top 10 weather events of the year. This system made headlines for historic snowfall that dropped along the Gulf Coast, with parts of Louisiana, Alabama, and Florida seeing up to 10 to 12 inches of snow. Here in Arkansas, though, it was the cold air that really stood out. Wind chills dropped into the single digits and even below zero in some spots. Making it to number 5 was the April 20th El Paso tornado. While not a particularly strong tornado, it caused significant damage across the El Paso area. It was a confirmed EF1 tornado with a path length of about 11 miles before lifting. Storm chaser Zach Hardcastle caught it on video, as you can see here. It's a good reminder that you don't need a violent tornado to have real impacts. Back to the cold air, making it to number 4 was the February 18th snowstorm in bitter cold. This system brought snow, sleet, and dangerous wind chills across the state. Northeast Arkansas saw the heaviest snow, generally 3 to 8 inches, while central Arkansas dealt with a wintry mix. After the snow, temperatures dropped sharply. Morning lows fell into the single digits and teens, with wind chill values reaching the negative single digits and negative teens. Travel was impacted statewide, making this one of the most disruptive winter events of the season. The February 18th snowstorm brought some of the coldest air of the year, but it didn't bring the most snow. That honor is reserved for number 3. The January 9th through 10th major snowstorm that hit the state. We already had the cold air in place, and once moisture arrived, big snowflakes started falling across much of central, western, and northern Arkansas. Parts of central Arkansas, including Little Rock, picked up around 10 to 12 inches of snow, with 8 to 10 inches falling across northern and north central Arkansas. Southern Arkansas dealt with ice, with a quarter to half an inch of ice in some spots. One of the best parts of this storm was seeing how creative Arkansans got. Not all of our weather events in 2025 were as fun as that winter storm. This brings us to number 2, one of the most impactful weather events of 2025, April 2nd through the 5th, severe weather and flooding. This was a multi-day, high-impact weather event and one of the most complex setups we dealt with all year. It started on April 2nd with severe storms that produced 16 tornadoes across the state, many of them in northeast Arkansas. Several were strong, long-track tornadoes that caused widespread damage, but as we continued into the week, that story shifted quickly from tornadoes to torrential rainfall and flooding. From April 2nd through the 5th, parts of the state picked up as much as 14 inches of rain, with some locations seeing 5 to 8 inches in just 24 hours. That rain led to historic flash flooding in some places and major river flooding across the state. Sadly, this event resulted in 3 fatalities statewide, primarily due to flooding, along with 14 injuries. This brings me to number 1, the most impactful weather event of 2025, the March 14th historic tornado outbreak. In 2025, 60 tornadoes touched down in Arkansas, well above the yearly average, and a large portion of those tornadoes happened on March 14th alone. That night, Multiple strong and violent tornadoes tore across the state, including several EF3 and EF4 tornadoes. One of the most remarkable was the long-tracked EF4 tornado that began near Alco in Stone County and moved northeast across Arkansas and even into Missouri. That tornado stayed on the ground for an hour and 45 minutes, tracking nearly 119 miles and becoming the third longest tracked tornado in the state since records began in 1950. An automated weather station recorded a 151-mile-per-hour wind gust, and damage survey crews finding catastrophic damage consistent with EF4 winds, including the Dias tornado where winds were estimated as high as 190 miles per hour. From tornado outbreaks to multiple snowstorms and even the northern lights, 2025 was anything but quiet. We'll see what 2026 has in store. Whatever it brings, just know the Arkansas Storm Team will be right here for you, tracking whatever comes next.